the monster is coming. Speaking of dinosaurs, what comes to mind? Ancient monsters? Jurassic Park? Dinobots in Transformers? Or Godzilla who fights with Ultraman? Today, Little Shark will share with you some facts about dinosaurs. Dinosaurs lived around 200 million years ago. 200 million years ago? I can't believe it! How do we determine this time? The Earth crust is a solid shell of rock. The first form is located at the bottom, the last on the top. The closer to the upper layer, the more recently it formed. There are lots of fossils of ancient times hidden in the stratum. People have found that older strata always have simpler creatures, whereas newer strata has more complex creatures. The strata of different eras have distinct fossil combinations. For the chronological formation time, geologists and paleontologists divided strata into 5 eras and 12 periods. For example, trilobites existed in the Cambrian period of Paleozoic Eon, whilst primitive fishes appeared in the Ordovician period. Dinosaur fossils first appeared in the stratum of the Triassic period, which can be dated back to about 250 million years ago. Speaking of dinosaurs, there are many interesting stories. Humans had already discovered dinosaurs in ancient times. In China, people seem to have found dinosaur fossils during the Eastern Jin dynasty, and were thrilled because they thought that these were dragon's bones and treated the bone powder as medicine. The Europeans also dug out these huge bones, but they reckoned them as titans and felt frightened. People in the Middle East were more imaginative, as they assumed these bones belonged to a kind of mysterious creature. The griffin. Until the 19th century in England, fossil excavation was a noble hobby, and many intellectuals were fantasized by it, such as doctors, pastors, etc. An obstetrician named Gideon Mantle was obsessed with collecting fossils, and he always brought his wife with him to go on field studies, so finally made his wife an expert. It's said that once, when Mantle went out to visit a patient, his wife was so worried and went out to pick him up, and in doing so, happened to find some giant tooth fossils of animals. She then brought them back home. Mantle, being a person of discernment, instantly realized their great value. After 2 years researching, he concluded that this was the fossil of an extinct creature and named it as Laona tooth. It is the iguanodon that we know today. But unfortunately, during the 2 years, another fossil enthusiast, a pastor named Buckland, published an essay in advance, in which he described a fossil that he had discovered and named it as Big Lizard in Quarry. Later, it is called Megalosaurus. Mantle was not the first to discover dinosaurs, yet the first officially recognized dinosaur was Megalosaurus. As more and more types of dinosaur fossils were being discovered, Dr. Richard Owen, a member of the Natural History Museum in London, realized that these behemoths may have originated from one common ancient ancestor. So he created a word, Dinosauria, which means fearfully great lizard. Japanese scholars translated it into Chinese, and the translation was widely used until today. With the increase in fossil excavation, more and more dinosaur fossils are being found in all the continents. Dinosaurs are members of an extremely varied group, and up till now, there are over 1,000 dinosaur genera which have been identified. Do you want to know more knowledge about dinosaurs? Then stay tuned. See you next episode, The Dragon Age.